Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening, you guys. Welcome to Lady Ro's Queendom, where I am Lady Ro, and you guys are the queens and the kings of this great world. I just got out of work and I decided I want to come down here and talk about this Nolan Wells. I have been hearing about Nolan all day and all afternoon. Earlier in the week, I saw that Karmelo Anthony had some updates on his appeal process, so I thought, let's talk about it. Hey, Chandra, long time since I've seen your name in the chat. Good evening, good evening. And I wanted to just get down here and chit chat. Now, Butterflii is supposed to be joining me, but I haven't seen her come live yet. So while we wait on that, we'll get some pleasantries out of the way. Remember, all things are alleged. They're in my opinion, and they're only for entertainment purposes. Don't go out your way to dislike nobody. Please and thank you. Please show some love and support for the channel. Comment, because we love a healthy dialogue. Share the tea. Spread the word. Subscribe to help this channel grow, because I have a fairly new channel. I started this channel last year at Essence Festival, to be exact. And since then, I've been growing slowly but surely. And I appreciate everyone who have subscribed to my channel. Please tap that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I go live. Remember, fair use disclaimer: some material in this video is used under U.S. copyright fair use section 107 for purposes such as commentary, criticism, and news reporting. Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna put some music on, because I'm visiting Butterflii gonna have to get up. If she sleeps, she gonna have to wake up and get on up in this bad boy. Because we talked and she said she was coming now. Here we go. All right, you guys, I'm back. Butterflii should be joining us any moment, and we're gonna get into what I've seen out here on the internet. Hopefully, I think you guys have seen it as well, but I think it's worth the conversation. I think it is worth the conversation. So, as many of you know, let's go ahead and get the Karmelo Anthony out of the way. Karmelo Anthony actually has a new judge that's been appointed to hear his post-trial recusal motion to decide if Judge Roach stays or not, right? So the new judge will oversee the recusal hearing in Karmelo Anthony's murder case after defense challenges the trial fairness in Sydney and seeks a new trial, court doc show. Dallas. New court documents obtained by WFAA show a new judge has been assigned to oversee the latest proceedings in the murder case of Karmelo Anthony, the former high school student convicted of fatally unaliving Austin Metcalf. According to the newly filed court records, a state judge signed an order on July the 14th assigning senior judge Sid L. Harrell of the 226th District Court to preside over the defense's motion to recuse Collin County Judge John Roach. The assignment was effective immediately and authorizes Harrell to handle all matters related to the recusal request, the filings read. This comes in the wake of Anthony's new appellant attorneys filing motions asking for both a new trial and for Judge Roach to be removed from any remaining post-trial proceedings. In Wednesday's statement to FAA, Bill Werskey with the Collin County District Attorney's Office defended that his team handled the trial ethically and in full compliance. The defendant's new lawyers have filed a motion containing several inaccurate characterizations of the trial proceedings. They're not inaccurate, you just don't like them. And I and the entire prosecution team conducted this trial ethically and in full compliance with the court's rulings and any arguments with defense counsel. We look forward to addressing these claims thoroughly in a court of law in the coming weeks. It's because you had the defense's counsel on your side, but moving right along. The jury heard extensive evidence over the course of the trial and returned a unanimous verdict. We remain confident in that verdict and the fairness of the proceedings. Following the conviction, Anthony recently replaced his trial attorneys, retaining appellate attorney Russell Wilson to handle post-trial proceedings and his appeal. Wilson's team wanted Judge Roach to be recused from handling any remaining issues in the case, arguing a different judge should decide all post-trial matters. One of the legal requirements is that you have a judge that you believe can be fair and impartial for the issues that are going to come before the court. And Judge Roach, we believe that based off the interview that was done, that he could not be fair and impartial, Wilson told WFAA. And so for our way to challenge that is to bring motion to recuse. And so we'll have that motion heard, and an independent judge will decide whether or not we can satisfy our legal standards. The newly assigned Judge Harrell will determine whether Roach should remain involved in the case. Judge Harrell is known for presiding over high-profile cases. I just said I've heard that name. I've heard his name. And I wonder did he preside over this case that I said in? Anyway, including the prosecution of the police officer charged in connection with the 2022 mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. In 2026, a jury acquitted former Uvalde CISD officer Adrian Gonzalez. Anthony's attorney requests, where did that go? Anthony's attorney requests does not challenge the jury's guilty verdict itself, but instead focuses on how the trial was conducted. Anthony's attorneys argued the court committed multiple errors during the June murder trial, preventing him from receiving a fair trial. We filed motions that we expect to prevail on, but we understand that there are two sides to every story. And at the end of the day, it'll be a judge that has to make these decisions. But we feel confident in the positions we're taking, Wilson said. There were substantial issues that we thought a reviewing court needed to look at. We thought these were constitutional irregularities, and we had the ability to have them addressed now. And so we put them into a motion for a new trial. Anthony was convicted on June 9th of murder in the April 2nd, 2025 stabbing and unaliving of Austin Metcalf during a UIL track meet at Kuykendall Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Prosecutors argued Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest during an altercation under a team tent. Anthony maintained he acted in self-defense. A Collin County jury sentenced Anthony to 35 years in prison. So we have a new judge that will be listening to the actual recusal because they're trying to get rid of the judge who actually presided over the original case. Good afternoon, living for me. Please hit that like button, comment, share, and subscribe. Please do all those things. Please, please. Good evening. That's me, AD. Good evening. Hey, Symmetry. Hey, Symmetry. Remember, fair use disclaimer, some material used in this video is used under U.S. copyright fair use section 107 for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and education. Then for me said, I sure hope this goes well for him. Me too. Me too. I'm glad to know. Wait a minute, you guys. Hold on a second. Let me go on mute. All right, you guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. People are speaking. Yes, good evening. So, kind of killing some time waiting on Butterflii to pop up in this bad boy. So we could talk about the Nolan Xavier Wells case. There's some new developments that have come out that I think are worth listening to. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. She said, I'm gonna have to put in a request for non-elevator music. Yeah, there's not a lot to choose from over here. I'm being very honest. And let me see if there's anything that sounds any better than that. No. What about that? Is that okay? I don't normally do elevator music, period. So yeah, I know that's not my MO. But we're gonna start the conversation and hopefully Butterflii will come on in and join in. So here we go. Here's this is hard to even talk about. Let's talk about the timeline, the unaliving of Nolan Xavier Wells, an 18-year-old out of Mississippi. I'm trying to remember exactly where he lived in Mississippi. But it was near the coastal line of Mississippi. And Nolan actually is an African-American young man. Again, like I said, 18 years old. There she goes. She's in. She's coming in. Let me add her to the stage. Hey, Butterflii.
Hey, can you hear
You
me?
made it.
I made it. This slow moving SOB.
That's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you're here.
Mhm.
I'm glad you're here. So it's kind of just giving a heads up about who Nolan was, right? He's an 18-year-old young man from I want to say Biloxi, Mississippi, but I'm not even sure if he actually lived in Biloxi. I'm not sure what city he's actually
Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs.
Ocean Springs. Okay. And he was, from my understanding, a good football player. Actually, was in college, was home for the summer, and he went, of course, like most of us do on the 4th of July, went out with friends. And while out with friends, he did not return home. There's so many things that go along with this story that I really don't think we know or even understand. But we're going to try to just talk on some of the things we've heard out here on the internet. Some things that, hold on a minute, I'm trying to create a map. So what we do know is on July the 3rd, the evening of July the 3rd, Nolan spent time with his family before leaving to stay with his friends ahead of a 4th of July trip to Horn Island. Horn Island happens to be an excluded little island off of the Gulf Coast of Mexico in Mississippi. Let me see if I can show you what Horn Island looks like. And it's, if you see it, it's really a different type of place. Did it pull up? Let's see. Y'all see that? Here we go. This is Horn Island. It's pretty much a desert island that sits out among the Gulf Coast. Lord have mercy. Why couldn't I say that? And I'm gonna see if I can find an aerial view so you can see what it looks like from the air. Because it's really just a strip of land that just kind of sits out, right? And people go out there, they camp out there. It's pretty wild. They say there are like gators out there and different things of that nature, you know. Let me show this so we can see it. There's different things out there that actually tend to not favor human life, right? There's a lot of mammals out there. I'll put it that way. There's no there's no electricity, there's no water. It's just a desert island that children go out and they have a good time during different times of the year. And they said there from any given time, there's a couple of hundreds to thousands. So the 4th of July, this is something big that people who live in Mississippi do. They get together and they go out to Horn Island and they hang out on this strip of land, okay? Because that's pretty much what it looks like. It just looks like a strip of land. So according to his family, he planned to return for football workouts the following holiday, right? So Nolan, on the 4th, he travels by private boat with his friends to that island we just showed, right? Which is a barrier island off of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. GPS data later shows that the group arrived around 11:14 a.m. to the island. That's the GPS from the boat. And approximately 3 p.m., Nolan is reportedly last seen alive on the island. Witnesses' accounts indicate that he was last seen on the beach before becoming separated from his group. At 4:31 p.m., GPS records from the boat indicate that the boat departed Horn Island. It left the island. And according to later reports, Nolan was not aboard when the boat left, right? But here's what we're gonna talk about. Shortly after departure, on their way to Horn Island, because we know that they arrived at around 11:14, the boat apparently started experiencing mechanical problems, according to the kids that were on the boat. A distress call was made asking for assistance on the boat, right? Reports indicate the caller stated everyone was accounted for, despite the fact that Nolan was not on the boat. According to them, they said he remained on the island. And this has become a really significant part of the conversation, is the very fact that when they spoke with and made the distress call, they told them everybody was accounted for on the boat. They said the boat was, I believe, taking in water and that Nolan remained on the land. But they said everybody was accounted for on the boat, right? At 5:44 p.m., the boat returned to the mainland after being towed, right? That was one of the stories. But I want you guys to also see what was pulled off of the GPS. Let's go in and we're going to look at it ourselves. This is the GPS report from the boat. CBS News obtained GPS data from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. Wells reportedly went to Horn Island with the boat, which came back without him. After the boat left the barrier island that afternoon, GPS does not show it returning to Horn Island that night. It does, however, travel to Fort Bayou, which is further inland, twice. So let's go to the GPS. Here's the timeline of the boat's movement for July the 4th. At 9:56 a.m., the boat left a private dock, which was one of the children's home, that they actually have a dock up to the back of their house. And if you know what docks look like, then that's pretty simple. At 11:14 a.m., the boat arrived at Horn Island. At 4:31 p.m., the boat left Horn Island. At 5:44 p.m., the boat arrived back at the original dock, meaning that it went back home to its private dock. At 5:52 p.m., the boat traveled to Fort Bayou. by water. Okay. At 6:06, the boat returned back to the dock. That means it returned back to its original dock, back to its private dock. At 7:19, the boat went back to Fort Bayou and it went to the boat launch. After that, it was moved overland to the home of the boat's owner in Biloxi, Mississippi. Butterflii, you want to step in while I try to see if I can pull up a map and let's talk about this. Let's get the show.
Yeah, because they showed the map coordinates. Now, first, I want to talk about the issue I have with the call that they released. I believe that call is AI. One, I don't know if you're calling for help on the boat. I don't know a dispatcher that's not going to ask you how many occupants are on the boat and where are you located exactly. That's what's missing from that alleged AI call. I don't believe that was a real call. I believe that was an AI call. Now, here's where I have a problem with this whole situation, where even before we even get to the GPS, the initial reason why this went viral is because his mother said that friends told her that they can't remember anything. They don't know where Nolan's at and they can't remember nothing. They came up with their story after the girl Katie went to the police, and once the mother went on Facebook and made an outcry for the location of her son, Katie went to the police station and gave a statement. It wasn't until after they found out about Katie's statement that they came up with the story that he stayed back with Katie. Here is where the loopholes are already in the story. That's the problem for me. Now, here's another issue I have with this GPS thing, right? The boys say they call for help, but how do they make all these stops if they needed help?
Right. I agree with that 100%. Why did they make all these stops and where were they going? Butterflii? I think we lost her, you guys.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Where were they going and why did they make so many stops? Why in the world did that happen? I was trying to read what else was going on. So, hello?
I'm here.
Okay. I just hearing a lot of static.
Oh.
So, yes, you did make it home in time to engage. So let's get on back into the story. So there has been a lot of information put out here. If anybody listens to Don Lemon did a big interview with several people today, right? But one of the things he talked about was in Mississippi, to be a coroner, you only need
a high school diploma. Or GED.
Right.
Or a GED.
Or GED. And to take and then is an elected county, official. So you're elected by the county. The thing is that you only need a high school diploma. You have to pass a little test, not a big test, but it's a test. And once you pass that test, you are able to be a coroner. The issue is, hey, Sunny Ray, Kiwa, Symmetry, Aisha, the designer, welcome, Buttercups and Queendom, welcome. We're talking about Nolan Wells and his missing and what has transpired so far that we know, because there's every day there's new events and different details coming out. So one thing we know is that to be a coroner in the state of Mississippi, you need a high school diploma and to be able to pass a test. Once you pass that test, you could be a coroner. The issue is that most coroners in the state of Mississippi, in all those rural counties, are normally funeral directors. I think you have a conflict of interest almost when you're using a funeral director to be your coroner. Again, these are elected officials. So, these are small towns, small rural towns. And you have people saying, hey, I know Danny owns the funeral home around the corner. So yeah, I'll vote for him to be the next funeral director. Yeah, I'll vote for him. I surely will. And then we have Danny now in a official capacity as the coroner, because Girl, we know Danny because Danny owns the funeral home. But Danny don't have no qualifications. And Danny is getting out here making decisions for people's families because at the end of the day, this was crucial. So many details of Nolan's last minutes, last steps have been washed away because the coroner and the sheriff didn't know what they were doing. Pretty much incompetence, allegedly. But I kind of made a map so you could kind of see where this boat went. So we're gonna start that this was a private dock, right? So it went to Horn Island, which is 1 to 2. Then we have 3. It left Horn Island and it went back to the private dock. You see, that's where the green line is. It went back to the private dock. Then the 4th, it said it arrived back at the original dock where 4 is. And then number 5, it travels to Fort Bayou, which is about 8 minutes away from the original dock. Then it left there and it went back to the original dock. And then it went back to Fort Bayou. And it went to the boat launches, which is where you see number 7. And from the boat launch, it got on a vehicle and it went to Biloxi. I think this is crucial because if you were indeed having boat issues, why did you keep going back and forth? Or were you taking it over there? Maybe there was a mechanic there. And when did you get down there to the swim party? When did you get to the pool? When did you get to the pool? I think there are so many details that are lacking when it comes to this group. I did find a couple of things I wanted to share. One is from this judge, this former judge, who used to be the judge in Mississippi, but he actually challenged Kyle Rittenhouse during his what do you want to say? When he was in trouble, his trial, this gentleman, this actual guy, black judge from Mississippi, wrote some things in his social media page that upset some people. And in doing so, they removed him from being a judge. So he's still an attorney, but he's retired. And he said, because he's returning, yes, Michelle, that is all the education needed in Mississippi to be a coroner. So any old Joe Blow can go be a coroner in Mississippi. Definitely that. The thing is that coroners pretty much, they pronounce people unalived. That is one of the jobs of a coroner. They store and remove the body and take it to a safe location until it can be, go to where it needs to go. There's a lot of, it doesn't really require you to have any medical knowledge, but I would think that because of the delicateness of the case, that a coroner should have some type of medical background. I feel that way. They went to the other island to set things up for later, in my opinion. I agree with you, Sonny Ray. I am with you. The judge from where I'm from was so crooked and did more coke than allegedly. I know that's right. But you know what? There's crooked cops and judges everywhere. So I'm going to share this. Let's go over here and let's listen to this judge. He actually is this what I want to share? I don't think this is what I want to share.
This is the original one that he did that got him to go viral interview with other people. But
okay, that's
the original. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's listen to that one first then, because I pulled one off of his page that he did today. This is it. Let's go. Let's listen to him. Copyright disclaimer. Y'all, I've already said it, but we're going to invoke it again. Let's listen to this gentleman as he talks about the Nolan. And this is pretty long, so we're going to be stopping and giving some commentary. All right.
Tons of footage from social media.
Now attorney Carlos Moore, who served in a municipal court in Mississippi.
Shout out to Hype News. This is where this is coming from on YouTube. I'm going to put up an overlay because I don't want no problems. How about that? We don't want no problems. Let's go.
for a little over 6 years, someone should have been arrested by now for several different reasons. Moore, who would end up being pushed from the bench after previously speaking out against racial discrimination on a social media.
It sounds a little choppy. Is that just my end?
I don't know. Let's ask everybody. Y'all, does it sound choppy to y'all? Let me know. What's the sound like?
Oh, wait. Sunray's down in Mississippi too, ain't you, Sunray?
Right. That's what she was just mentioned about the judge in her area did a lot of coke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's listen and see if it sounds choppy.
Recounting interviews and statements of alleged witnesses that were on Horn Island. We know that Nolan Wells.
Is that better? That's me, AD. Is that a little better? The first part of it sounded really AI-ish. Butterfly, does it sound better to you the second time?
No, it sound worse.
Are you serious?
That's why I'm like, I don't know if it's me. It could be my
yeah, because to me, you're going in and out, but it could be me. So she said it did sound good. Okay. Yeah. You might want to go out and come back in.
Okay. I'll be right back too. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Yeah.
To spend the night on July the 3rd with his so-called friends. And he went with those so-called friends to Horn Island on a boat on July the 4th. We know that out of the 4 people on that boat, 1 did not return home. That one person was Nolan Wells. The other 3 returned home as normal and said nothing to any member of law enforcement or to the Coast Guard until at least 11 p.m. at night on July the 4th. We know that at least one of the so-called friends was found with the phone of Nolan Wells. And we know this based on the testimony of the parents, specifically the mother, who tracked the phone and was led to the home of one of the young men where she retrieved the phone. We also know that based on the mother's testimony, that Snapchat, there were no Snapchats from the day, which was very odd for her son. We also know that text messages were deleted. We know that when she was tracking the phone, Life 360 said the phone was one place and Snapchat said it was another place. We know that the boy that had the phone did not voluntarily turn it over or call first. He had to be found through their own investigation. We know that based on witnesses' account, the so-called friends were seen on
I'm sorry, you guys. I was talking to my phone. My mic was on mute. So we do know that these people, although they had the phone, they did not willingly give it up. The mother actually tracked down her son's phone using Life 360, which is an app you use to know where your children are, or you know where your family members are. And that's how she was able to track down his phone. And they still did not willingly give up the phone. So we're going to keep listening to it. I'm going to stop it every now and then. But he did post this on on Facebook, so it's a little bit easier to use on YouTube.
July the 5th, that Sunday, having breakfast together like nothing had happened. They were not out there searching for their so-called friend. We know that the so-called friends deleted their social media, deactivated their accounts, and scrubbed it clean if the allegations are correct. We know that the young men or the young man that had the car at his house did not willingly turn over the keys. At first, he said that he did not have the keys. He didn't know where they were. Then he, after being pressed by the father, he finally turned over the keys. This is all very suspicious activity.
Y'all, I'm running my mouth and my mic was on mute. I would say the one kid had the keys and another kid had the phone. The one had the keys to the car, and I guess his car was at that location, and then the phone was at another location. And the parents went to retrieve both items plus the car, because these people they didn't willingly give it up.
We know that based on an audio recording and some video that Nolan Wells can be heard saying, "Give me my freaking keys." Excuse me, "Give me my freaking phone." And there's been two different versions. Some said he said, "Give me my freaking phone," or some say he said, "Give me my ML phone." Regardless, he was asking or demanding his phone. Someone had his phone who did not have permission to have his phone. So the first thing I see, the simplest thing I see, is who had his phone and why. And
this judge actually said that he believes, let me see if I'm still on mute, child, because I be on mute. This judge actually said,
I was about to say, I couldn't hear nothing.
Yeah, this judge actually said that this former judge said he actually believes that there should have been some arrest that night, or the night that the mother had to go retrieve her son's stuff, the phone, the keys to the vehicle, because they consider that petty theft. And he said he thought that something should have been done also with the children, the young people with the alcohol, because from my understanding, the mother of one of the kids was on the boat with them. So did she supply them with alcohol? Because they had alcohol. And you know it's against the law to give underage children alcohol. Butterflii, you have anything you want to add to that before we move on into this?
I didn't know one of the mothers was on the boat.
That's what I heard on the Dunn Lemon show earlier. In fact, I may pull in some of that if I can screen through it and find where that is.
Oh yeah, I did not hear that part. But I do know that, you know, the people felt like somebody should be charged, because even if the mother wasn't on the boat, they had that pool party had a whole bunch of alcohol, allegedly.
Right, but there's photos of of Nolan and the boys on the boat with alcohol cans in their hands, with beer cans in their hands. Those claw drinks, I forgot what they're called, but they have alcohol.
Oh yeah, I think the original picture, Nolan don't got nothing in his hand. That AI picture has Nolan having something in his hand, but yeah, one of the boys in the original picture does have the quadrant in his hand. Yeah,
right. Okay, let's get on in this a little more, and I'll see if I can pull up that other one.
Was that theft of the phone? Sometimes we look at the largest case, we try to get to murder, but the person that took his phone committed a crime right there. There are witnesses to who took that phone. If an affidavit is signed, an arrest warrant could be signed by a judge in Mississippi to go after that person that had that phone unlawfully. We know, based on his own words, Nolan Wells' words while he was alive, he did not give whoever had that phone permission to have that phone. So was that theft? I think if an affidavit is signed, if it was presented to me when I was a judge, I would have signed an arrest warrant for the person for theft of that phone, based on what I've heard. It'd have to be an affidavit format, but if it was presented to me in affidavit format from law enforcement, I would sign the arrest warrant for, at least at this point, theft of the man's phone.
This gentleman also said that he felt like it took law enforcement too long, and days were, moving on and on and on, and there was still nothing that was like, there was no action taken towards getting any justice for this family, even if he was in the water and he did drown, right? Let's just say that he did drown. There's still no action taken for these children out on the lake or on the Gulf Coast consuming alcohol, because they were all under the age of 21. So there was someone who had bought the alcohol for them, and they were actually consuming it, because there's pictures of them consuming alcohol. So I think there's just a lot to it that a lot of people just really haven't taken into consideration.
We know who had it. We know who didn't report it to the family. The family had to go find it. And we know that Nolan Wells said, give it back to him. And evidently it was not given back to him. Why was that? All of the other things I've stated, you piece it together. Is there enough right now for arrest warrants for murder? That is a good question. I do know at this point, there should have been search warrants signed by a judge. Evidence should have been presented to a judge by now. We are nearly 7 days after July the 4th, when he was first reported missing. There should have been evidence submitted by Jackson County law enforcement agents, the sheriff's department specifically, presented to a judge so that search warrants could be signed by the judge. And there needs to be, or should have been, someone questioning the young men, the three so-called friends, and others, and the social media accounts need to be searched by now.
The issue with the searching of the social media accounts is that they deleted their social medias. All of the boys deleted their social medias. I don't know where Butterflii went, but she better get back up here. She probably over there arguing with somebody on TikTok about this. But the issue, again, like I said, with the social media accounts being searched, is that the boys have cleaned them, so that they would definitely need a subpoena and to get into those social media accounts.
Or at least a search warrant should have been issued for the appropriate entities to give the law enforcement access to the social media information. That should have been done by now. I'm not telling you what I imagine. I'm telling you what the process usually is when you're trying to do a thorough investigation. And based on what's revealed from a thorough investigation, I do believe once the evidence is secured, it's going to lead, and it should lead to the arrest of one or more individuals.
This gentleman's name is Carlos Moore, attorney Carlos Moore, former judge in the state of Mississippi, and I believe he lives in Atlanta now. But one of the things that Carlos is saying is that, of course, they've scrubbed their social media, and the very fact these kids have a parent who is actually in law, because she's a judge, stepmom, or so forth. The very fact that she is the one who's probably leading them into, hey, do scrub this, get rid of this, get rid of that. Because in all actuality, there was a child, one of the boys went home, and somehow or another, him going home was encouraged to call the Coast Guard and to make a call to Nolan's mother and tell her, hey, Nolan's not with us. Nolan's missing. This was at 11 p.m. Yet they say the last time that they saw Nolan was approximately 3 p.m. that evening. So they've lost crucial grounds, crucial time, because they were not they were too busy trying to clean up things instead of trying to make sure that they got things taken care of. Also, on the Don Lemon show, they made it very clear that by the stepmother being a judge, that the sheriff who was investigating Nolan's missing was also the sheriff that is responsible for protecting and guarding the judge. Conflict of interest. So there's a lot that goes into that. Butterflii, I see you're back. Welcome back.
I'm sorry, girl. I'm having all type of technical difficulties. There's a lot of conflict and interest in this, right? The sheriff shouldn't be on it. The judge she should have kept her thing private, because she done came out and made 2 statements. Now, what pissed me off about the judge is the second statement. Y'all want sympathy. First of all, y'all ain't getting no sympathy. Help this lady find her son. He last was seen with your son and a couple of other buddies. So it's just a whole bunch of conflict of interest. I don't even think this, even if they find something, God willing they do, because I feel like they are. It's just too many holes, too many inconsistencies, too many issues. Now, like I said, the boys didn't know nothing. This is why the mother had an outcry for help in the first place. Now, we got to remember, before this went viral, this was on Facebook. The mother was on Facebook asking for help. They lied about what the boy had on. They told the mother he had on black shorts. The reason why we got that picture of Nolan and them 3 others sitting on the boat is because it was emailed to her, because somebody, it was inboxed to her, because they told Nolan's mother that he had on black shorts. So they lied about the shorts he had on. They said they couldn't remember nothing, right? And then when they found out that girl Katie went to the police and gave a statement, that's when they came back with the story, trying to scapegoat off of Katie. I think that's very important, because of so much information that's been put out there. The original thing that got this whole thing started, that's significant information that is missing. This is why these boys definitely should have been picked up. Their phones should have been confiscated. Like LadyRo said, that sheriff gave them people too much time. We all know that the first 48 hours is critical in any situation. A missing person situation, an unaliving situation, any situation, the first 48 hours are most critical. When I tell you they let this fall by the wayside, and they was not expecting the vitriol, nor was they expecting this to go viral the way it has.
100% Butterflii. They were expecting to be able to push everything under the rug, right? They were expecting to clean that boat up, get rid of evidence. And then by this time, they've already gotten the sheriff to agree, hey, he drowned, right? Now you tell me he went missing the last time seen 3 p.m. On the island, right, at 3 p.m. Late on the 4th of July, he's reported missing because he doesn't return with the group. Multiple agencies begin searching operations. On July the 5th, air, marine, ground searching efforts continue around Horn Island and surrounding areas or waters. And then on July the 6th, search crews discover a body in the water near the northwestern tip of Horn Island. Now, why didn't they? Yeah. They said they stayed in that area looking for him. So they knew about what area he was in because of the boys. Now, why hasn't something been done with these boys and their mammies?
LadyRo, can I also clarify? What you call them people, the Coast Guard didn't get involved. When that boy called them, they told that boy that they didn't have enough evidence to go out there and do anything. Now, they got involved when the Cajun Cajun Navy. Cajun Navy volunteered, because let's not forget too that they was giving the mother the runaround about who she had to file a missing persons report with. So there's a lot of things that they did that made this mother go ahead and call Ben Crump. I know everybody think it automatically went, oh, because he went disappeared with white boys. No. That's not automatically what the mother think. This boy, half of the boys he only went to high school with. The other half he grew up with. Not all of them that he grew up with and went to elementary school. Even with the judge trying to throw, oh, I went to school with the mother. That don't mean you had any type of relationship with that mother. The mother has clearly said that she doesn't know none of the white boys' families. Period. So because you went to school with her does not mean that that mother knows you. So that judge was definitely out of pocket, definitely trying to muddy the waters. And like the ex-judge said, she was already trying to put a reasonable doubt story out there. She was already trying to what they call it, poison the jury pool.
Tamper with evidence and
really they was definitely tampering with evidence. You know what I mean?
And swaying anybody that would think that something else was going on. They have really tried to sway the general public to think a whole different direction. Here's the crazy part. Yeah. I'm gonna try to pull up that Don Lemons so we can pull it. I really don't want to use him because I don't want no copyright issues. But I am going to let me see. I can pull
see if you can just do it with the audio.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, see if you can just do it with the audio.
Talk for a minute and I'm going to see if I can pull it up.
Yes, Buttercups. I mean, I'm sorry, Queendom. Yes, Queendom and Buttercups, because we got both of y'all in here. But yes, so I think it's very important that we remember how this initially started, because it's getting so muddy, it's getting so congested, it's getting so confusing with all the new information that comes out every day. The whole point of the mother franticking is because them boys have been playing games from the start of this situation. They told her that they didn't remember nothing that happened. They lied about what he had on. Okay. And I personally don't believe that he was left on that island either. And like I said, I have a problem with that call that was released today, so-called for the call for help. That dispatcher didn't ask location and didn't ask how many occupants was on the boat. If you're in that type of position, you're going to ask how many occupants and you're going to ask the location if you can. Even if you think that they can't tell you the location, you're still going to ask what is their location, because where are they sending help to? The audio I heard so far being played, I didn't hear her asking how many people was on the boat, which that should have been asked. That should have been a question asked. How many occupants is on the boat? Not if everybody's okay. They're only playing the part. They're only playing the part where the lady says, is everybody in good health, and is everybody safe? And the boy said yes. They didn't play no part with that lady asking how many occupants was actually on the boat and where's the location of the boat. That's why I don't believe that audio neither. And that sheriff is definitely conflict of interest. That's why they already try to come back and tell the mother no foul play after the mother noticed what she went through to get her son's phone, what she found in her son's phone or what she didn't find in her son's phone, and the hassle that they had to go through to get the keys and the phone back. And the fact that they lied about what he had on when the parents was trying to find him. Why lie about him having on black shorts when the boy had on blue shorts? And I mean, I think the thing that it's just mind-boggling to me is people don't understand why this looks so suspicious. You delete all your social medias and you lawyer up. Let's not forget the first half of that too. The fact of the matter is they lawyered up.
They lawyered
and
up.
Deleted all their social medias.
And they did it quickly. They did it, instantaneously. This happened on the 4th of July, which was what was 4th of Sunday, or I think it was a Saturday. So the 4th was Saturday. And so you lawyered up shut your social medias down. Because I'm going to tell you this, everybody I know who's gone through any kind of legal trouble, the first thing they're advised to do is get out. They ask you, my girlfriend whose daughter passed away, she actually was suing for malpractice. The first thing she said, the attorney asked her when she got there, do you have a social media? And she said, yeah. Did your daughter have one? She said, yeah. He said, delete it immediately. Go home and delete it. They tell you when you're in the middle of a lawsuit, the first thing to do is delete it. And I'm sure that judge told every one of those kids to delete it. Just wild. Hey, good evening, Susie, Brown Girls Rocks. Thank you guys for coming in here. Let me play a little bit of the Don Lemons with the judge. He actually spoke with the judge, Carlos Moore, who we were just listening to. And I'm going to be breaking this one up because I definitely don't want any copyright with Don Lemon. I don't want no problems done. So let's listen.
To work and left accidentally his child.
This judge he's telling a story about how in Mississippi that blacks and whites don't get the same type of fairness. So I'm gonna fast forward through that. He talks about he represented a gentleman who had accidentally left his son in a car, went to work, kid in the back seat, and the kid passes away. He said that before this happened, a month earlier, a Caucasian girl had did the exact same thing, exactly the same, circumstances the same. And she was not charged, no charges were ever brought up, but his gentleman took a plea deal because he did not want to go to prison, right? The gentleman was on record. They had him, video, crying, remorseful, sad, and they still charged him. So he was saying that he knows for a fact that Mississippi is not one of those states that just is going to be playing even, especially when you get down to the bayou, is what he was saying, pretty much. Okay, so let me fast forward that to get to the point where he's actually talking about Nolan. Here we go.
Actions lead one to believe at this point that it was not an accidental drowning, because I know no one, when someone dies by accident, that lawyers up immediately.
He said that he doesn't know anybody who, when someone does an accidental drowning, that they lawyer up immediately. And Butterflii pretty much just touched on that.
People every summer die of an accidental drowning, but how many folks go hire a lawyer for that? You're simply a witness. You tell what happened. They got in there. That was a strong current, and you have no reason to fear that you're going to prison for telling that. But if something awry has gone on, you have a right to remain silent, and you usually remain silent for good reason, because anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. There may be something that you say that could point towards you, so you want to remain quiet. But if my child, I have 2 children, if any one of them saw one of their friends drown, I'm not lawyering up for that if they had nothing to do with it. I mean, times are too hard, gas is too expensive, milk is too expensive to be paying for lawyers unnecessarily. So you can act stupid if you want to. But I know the game. The jig is up. I'm sick and tired, as Fannie Lou Hamer said, of being sick and tired. You will not get away with this. If anything was done wrong, I don't care if you're the district attorney that works with the judge. I don't care if you're the sheriff that works with the judge. We will not rest until the independent, unbiased law enforcement agency gets in here and investigate this properly. As I said, tick tock, we are fed up.
Wow.
Let me see one else. There's so much more to this interview. I should have wrote down timestamps, but I was driving and listening. Let me see. 16. I'm looking at the transcripts. Butterflii left and came back. Yeah, there she goes. Butterflii? There we go.
Yeah, I'm back, girl. I keep getting kicked out. I'm sorry.
I don't know why.
My internet acting funny, baby. It's acting funny.
Yeah, they don't want us to get this out here. Somebody is
that part, okay.
Where's that baby girl? Somebody's tapping the line. Let's go.
Now I know that they're busy and they have things to do, and I don't think that.
I really want to get to them talking about the kids. See if this is it.
Said if I didn't have anything to do with it, I would be talking to law enforcement. And I said, well, I don't know if that's a smart idea, because usually they'll tell you, but if you don't have anything to do with it, I don't know. Do you think that these young people, anyone there, you think just by them lawyering up that is some indication of possible guilt?
I can only tell you what I would do with my own family. If I would have first evaluated what my family member told me, I would know, being a lawyer and a former judge, whether or not what they told me is criminal or potentially criminal. And once I evaluated it, if I thought that they could potentially be held or found guilty in a court of law, I would advise them to exercise their Fifth Amendment right and remain silent and to lawyer up. But if what they told me and I evaluated and I didn't think it could potentially be a crime, I would not be lawyering up. I wouldn't be spending any money, and I would allow them to talk as a regular witness to the law enforcement. And so only the people that's a trained legal professional know why they would advise certain things. I'm telling you from personal experience after.
Hold on a second. This is what I wanted him to say. Let's go. I want him to talk about the best friend. Let's go. Here we go.
So, you know, the friend is saying that it wasn't Nolan, it was him who is the friend who has been speaking to the media. But still, someone had Nolan's phone.
Okay.
Oh,
but it's
again.
I said, is that friend a decoy? I understand that they have put two brown or black individuals have come forward out of the friend group.
Is that friend a decoy? Butterflii, is that friend a decoy? Do you think that?
Yes, I absolutely believe that friend's a decoy. I tell you, I believe that all of them boys, including that best friend, quote unquote, unfortunately, was stolen. I believe he know exactly what happened. In my opinion, allegedly, word on the curve is, I don't know how true this is. I don't know this to be fact. I ain't saying it to be fact. I'm just telling you my opinion. That best friend is definitely a decoy. I believe they was all jealous of Nolan, including that best friend.
Okay.
Because Nolan was very popular. Nolan was even more popular than the black friends. Okay. So in my opinion, they was all jealous of Nolan.
There, and you have it there. Let's listen a little bit more to this statement from Judge Carlos Moore.
But none of the white individuals have come forward out of the friend group, so that they put them up to allay our fears under duress. So we don't know if they're telling the truth or not. Anyone can get on television and say anything, but they were not sworn. That was not sworn testimony. So I'm not satisfied until I hear sworn testimony, if it's in affidavit format, and people are saying stuff freely and not under duress. Because the so-proclaimed best friend, I think his name was Tristan or something similar, the family said they've never seen the boy. So I would know.
Did y'all hear that? One of the guys who came out, the family said, we ain't never seen him. Hey, Sergeant Charge, we don't know him. Who is he? Who is he? So you know what? I went and pulled up where the mother said, we don't know this boy. We don't know nothing about him. Let me see if this is it.
They probably know each other from high school, but that is not a childhood friend. That boy has never been to her home. Now, he did reach out to offer his condolences, but that's as far as much as she know that boy. That's the second friend that came out that did the phone interview. Not the one that did the interview with TMZ. This Tristan, or whatever his name is.
I agree 100%. I'm trying to find the video of the mom saying that she didn't know him. And I am having a hard time, child.
It's I want to say it's the interview that she did with the best friend and the mother that went to retrieve the phone for him. And there's another discrepancy. The mother was there. She was just in the car. She didn't want to get out the car.
I found it. Let's go. Here we go.
Described himself as Nolan's best friend. He gave an interview saying that he was the one who was.
While she's saying this, the mother is shaking her head saying no. While she is saying that, the mother is shaking her head saying no, like he's not a best friend.
Yelling in one of the viral videos that people had been questioning and said that it wasn't Nolan in the video, that it was him, and that Nolan met a girl that day that he really liked, even though he'd never, interacted with this girl before. Her name was Katie. Have you spoken to Tristan since Nolan's passing, and how are you responding to his account of what happened?
So first of all, we don't know Tristan. We've never met him. So to say, best friend, childhood friend, that's a bit of a stretch. We've never met him. He's never been to our home. Now, if you were to say that about Jalen or Javon, I would say absolutely. You could say that those are childhood friends. Those are best friends because they've been to our home. We know their family. We're close to, their mother. But this young man, I maybe high school, they started hanging out or, kind of been around each other. But again, we don't know him.
The mother has clearly said, we don't know him. She's made it very plain, very simple. We don't know him. And this gentleman has been in front of the cameras, running his mouth, or however he's done it. He's been talking, but we don't know him. We don't know him.
And not to discount anything he has said, which of course, still trying to rule those things out. But I mean, he has communicated. He did offer his condolences, which we appreciate. And he did let me know about that tidbit, which of course, like I've been telling everyone, if you have any information, forward that over to the local authorities. Make sure also forward that over to our legal team as well, just to make sure that we're looking at everything.
Let me say this to
Butterflii, what you think about that? These decoys that these people have put in front of us, saying that, hey, we've been, they'll listen to the blacks. Most blacks listen to other blacks.
Right. Because I think, in every picture that we've seen, even the pictures that they showed in the video that they showed on the island, there was no other black kids in that mix. So I'm going to need for some white kids to come forward, because at the end of the day, the videos, the pictures, Nolan's the only black kid in all them videos and all them pictures. I don't see none of them black friends. I don't even see the best friend, Javon, that's claiming he was there. And none of the pictures. I'm sorry. No disrespect to the mother. He truly believes our friends. I don't believe that that boy. I don't know, Buttercups. I'm just telling you, I get a bad vibe off the best friend.
I do too.
I get a bad vibe off the best friend. I'm sorry. And at the end of the day, his first interview, why would you go to TMZ? All these people are going to TMZ, and when his mother was looking for answers and asking for answers, nobody had none for her.
Right.
Be very clear. Mother's outpour came from Facebook. This only went viral because the mother was on Facebook asking for help. Where were all these people when she asked for help, including the assistant coach that they're trying to convince us is the head coach? The head coach is white. Why is we talking to the black assistant coach and not the head white coach?
That part. It doesn't make any sense. Sonny Ray says definitely a decoy. Definitely a decoy. Let's get back over here and listen to a little bit more of the Don Lemon.
My child's best friend. If they were that close, I would have seen them at some point in their lifetime. And so that's very, very odd there. Another thing I wanted to share with you, Don, is that in Mississippi, the Sheriff's Department provides security for the judges. So in Jackson County, the Jackson County Sheriff's Department would be providing security and bailiffs for Judge Ashley Cole's courtroom. So I see a glaring conflict of interest there. And I believe that the sheriff should probably recuse himself if one of the last people to see Nolan Wells alive is her stepson. That to me is a problem because normally that would be a person of interest and could potentially become something more if the evidence revealed that. And your employees are providing security for the judge's office. I don't know how you can do a very thorough investigation. That's why I have been asking certain questions and saying, why has no one gone after the low-hanging fruit? And so we need a independent investigatory agency coming in to investigate this or to supplement what the sheriff is doing, because I have a lot of concerns about what's going on and what's not going on there.
So what's the low-hanging fruit? Explain to us.
The low-hanging fruit is what the allegations and testimony that I've heard just through what people have said through the media. If that bears out to be true, you have the theft of the phone. You also have underage drinking. So you have minors drinking. You have someone that contributed to the delinquency of minors by providing the alcohol. One of the friends said that some of the people in the group were known to do a certain drug, and they intimated it was a legal drug. They did not name the drug, but it could be surmised that it's a legal drug. Those are all crimes that someone can be held accountable for. And if it's drug use, drug possession, paraphernalia possession, even it needs to be investigated for drug trafficking or whatever. So none of that has been investigated. And I do know that if the roles were reversed in this instance. Any crime that they could have arrested a black or brown boy for, as they search for the truth of the ultimate crime of murder, they would have done that and used that as a pressure point to try to get to the ultimate truth. And that's not been done in this instance. And my question is, why?
Butterflii.
Yes.
You didn't step in and talk for a minute. I'm gonna try to find the part where they're talking about there being an adult on the boat.
Okay. Yes. Please find that part, because that's what I didn't hear. That was new to me. Now I do know at the pool party. Oh, LadyRo, god darn it. I don't know. I can't share it myself.
What is it?
Remember I told you that I found there's a thing with this other thing that this girl came out. I believe it was a fake profile, but I believe she's telling the true story of what happened to Nolan.
Okay.
And that's another one that the mother said she's never met the girl, she's never spoke to the girl. But I think the profile did it under a fake name because they're trying to protect their identity. But there's a post where a young lady came out a couple of days ago. That post went viral too, explaining what happened and that Nola did make it back to the island and they did go to that pool party. And that pool party picture is not from some 2-3 weeks ago. That was from that night. She says that Nolan got into a fight with Wyatt. Another one with a W. I don't know why I can't remember his name for the life of me. So it was like three out of the 4 of them boys he got into it with, and the other ones were standing back laughing, and they was videotaping the boys allegedly assaulting and confronting Nolan with his own phone. This is why they erased everything out of his Snapchat.
Wow, that's a lot. I wish I had that. I would put it up here for us to listen. Let's listen to this one just a little bit more. And let's see if they
hold up. You have to read it, but I'm gonna be right back so I can send it to you on Instagram. I'm gonna inbox it to you right now, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
Judge, if you can be more specific, because in the video you are specific about you don't believe that the process and even the protocol for things like this, that it has been followed, because if a judge gets something, you said in affidavit form, I'm not a legal expert, but you said if a judge gets something in affidavit form, they're likely to sign an affidavit.
So they're just discussing that if the protocol to go along with getting affidavits, I bet I'm on mute. Let me make sure I'm not on mute. I'm not. Getting affidavits, getting it signed, but the judge Carlos comes back and says some other things. Here we go. See what he says.
In my opinion, there's normally a swift investigation that the officers interview certain witnesses, certain people of interest, and they gather their statements, and then the officer signs an affidavit, presents it to the judge, and then the judge either signs an arrest warrant or he signs a search warrant. A lot of the times, the search warrant comes first so they can get other vital information. And so in this instance, I would love to have seen a search warrant for the boat that some witnesses say was being cleaned at 3 a.m. On the morning of July the 5th. That should have been immediately been seized after a search warrant was gathered from.
And why wasn't the boat seized immediately? That's a big question. Why wasn't the boat that he actually went over on the island on, and they haven't seen him since 3 p.m. and the boat returned without him there? Why wasn't the boat searched? Why? I wonder why the boat wasn't searched. And why were they cleaning it at 3 a.m.? When the boat returned back to their home, according to the timeline, the boat returned home at, let me see, 7:19. The boat got on the launch pad and was moved over to the owner's home in Biloxi. So why was the boat being cleaned at 3 a.m. if it returned home around 8 p.m.? Things just don't make sense.
From a judge, social media accounts of everyone, the last seen with Nolan, including the 3 that was on the boat in the picture with them, Katie's phone, social media accounts, And if that's Snapchat, if that's Facebook, if that's Meta, whoever, there are certain mechanisms that subpoenas or a search warrant signed by a judge can get access to that information. And so I have not learned that any of that has been done. It has been revealed in the public. So when the sheriff said that no foul play was suspected, that led me to believe that there may not be an active investigation. And that's why I started asking questions.
Because the sheriff, remember, is the same sheriff who has detail with the judge. Same guy has detailed with the judge. He's a part of the judge's security detail. So how can I trust him that he's going to do everything right? And he's already said there was no foul play suspected right off the bat. Once they found Nolan's remains, that he said there was no foul play expected immediately. He needs to recuse himself.
Questions, because all of the things here seem to be very suspicious, and for him to come out 2 days after the death, and maybe 1 day after the body was found, and say no foul play was suspected, that was very odd to me, and it showed to me that he could be potentially biased or maybe having tunnel vision because of someone he may want to protect. And so, and he may not want to protect anybody, but there's always going to be a cloud of suspicion under the sheriff when he has to protect the judge, and one of her kinfolks is potentially a person of interest, and that's being generous.
Well, you heard that. It's being generous. This is a gentleman this is Judge Carlos Moore, originally from Mississippi. He said he grew up in Mississippi. He knows Mississippi oh too well, and all of the things that happen in Mississippi. I'm trying to see if I can find that part of the video.
You need to also dig into that corner too. She has a history of ruling against things that are known to fact to be opposite of what she said they were. There's been a couple of things that she has been behind that has been real corrupt. And one of them allegedly is embalming a family's child before they got a chance to get their own independent autopsy without their permission. Allegedly.
Wow. Butterflii, I have that link up here on the screen in case you want to. Can you read it for us? You got your phone?
Yep, I got my phone, but I can't even see it.
Okay, I'll read it. Let me put it on my screen so I can see it in big time, honey.
And she's gonna say no is Nolan's name.
Bro, no.
Let you know that as you get to read. Yep.
Okay, because I was wondering what is bro no. Okay. Says bro no didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend, No and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and Evan was trying to be hard. Nolan was definitely screaming, "Give me my effing phone back. Inja, what's wrong with you?" So they all calmed down. So that's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a pool party. So yes, No came to the party, and yes, we was drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really hot. And I think they was trying to get Lucy and Natalia to try some as well. But yes, they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know Evan's mom kicked us all out. Once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren, basically recording and laughing, saying, get him. And all I could hear was Nunu screaming, "Mom." So yes, I tried to help him. Then his mom come out screaming, yelling, drunk, made us leave, and was saying she was going to call the cops on us if we didn't leave her house. But they didn't let No leave. And No was by the basketball goal that was inside the pool. He was leaning over beside it, gasping for air and spitting up blood. And now his mom, I just got off the phone with her. I don't know what that bottom part means, but maybe you do, Butterflii.
Well, that's she was trying to say that she called the mother and told her all this. But the mother has already said that she's never heard from this person. She doesn't know where it is. Now that's why it gives me the assumption that the person who did this, you already know the internet sleuths, so they already went to see how long the account was up. It was a brand new account that actually just surfaced the day that they wrote that. Now here's why I believe that, and here's why I believe that picture is not from the 28th like they're trying to say, and it's actually from that night. If you notice in the picture, Nolan is not in the group of people that's facing forward to the camera. His back is turned, and you can see that he's looking at homeboy, because I zoomed in on the picture today for the first time. In the picture, Nolan, it looks like he's looking back at the group of people, but if you zoom in, he's actually looking at homeboy putting his hand around him. And you know how we look at somebody, you know what I'm saying, after they done, we in a confrontation and you're going to put your arm around me?
Right.
So this is why that story is made. This is why I believe that story. Now, I believe the girl's trying to cover, protect her identity because she is in Mississippi. We already know how they get down. Let's not forget that young man that was found on a college campus, unalive, hanging like strange fruit, and they tried to say that he unalived himself when they come to find out that he had gotten into an argument with 4 other white students earlier over the Charlie Kirk situation. So that's the same corner that did his autopsy too. So that's why I said we need to pay attention. The whole town is unequipped and everybody got a conflict of interest and a lot of them are shady. The whole investigation need to be taken out of there. Honestly, it needs to be an independent investigation. And I don't even know if I trust the FBI, because allegedly rumor has it one of the Curvers, one of them boys' parents also is the FBI. These white boys, their parents are connected.
Oh, I agree.
They're connected. And that I don't know, but because I believe that it's all going to come out, but I don't know if no one's going to get justice. I don't know if you heard about the mayor coming out and speaking earlier.
Yeah, I got the mayor pulled up for us to listen to, but I wanted
let's listen to this nonsense. I'm sorry. Go ahead, LadyRo. I'm sorry.
Not you calling it nonsense before it even gets started. Let's go, because he looked like he was getting ready to say some bull swanky when I was watching it. Let's listen to the old mayor. His name is Governor Reeves. I thought I pulled up the mayor. Are we talking about the governor or the mayor? Which one are we supposed to be listening to?
Governor, might be. I said mayor by accident. I meant the governor.
Governor. Okay. All right, let's go.
There's been obvious national attention on Mississippi because of the death of Nolan Wells, the football player found on Horn Island after the July 4th, and all the racial overtones that come with that. Have you been in touch with investigators in Jackson County and asking for full transparency in that investigation so that the public will know exactly what happened to this young man?
Sean Tyndall, the commissioner of the Department of Public Safety, has been in contact with those individuals. Obviously, the autopsy was done by the state medical examiner's office at the Department of Public Safety. I personally know Sheriff John Ledbetter from Jackson County very well. I have not personally spoken to him. I have full confidence that he is going to do his job. And what I will simply say is I don't know all of the details. I don't know all of the facts surrounding the case. I've yet to see a fact or a piece of evidence that suggests any foul play. But if there is, I feel confident that the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, the members at the Department of Public Safety that deal with these crimes, if there had been one, they will find it and they will do what is necessary.
He's wasted our time. He didn't even say nothing we're talking about. He's up there rambling. Literally just rambling.
Talking about there appears to be no evidence. When actually he spoke to the investigators, no, I haven't spoken to the investigators, but there appears to be no evidence. And then didn't even offer the family no type of condolences. And you the governor. Conflict of interest. And they wonder why. I know a lot of people have an issue with Ben Crump But LadyRo, can you just bust down that man's record again like you did the other day? Because at the end of the day, we have to stop doing that. We feed into these narratives that people have put on people, that the only people that we have that's still out here. Ben Crump is the only one that's still out here fighting civil rights cases. And for some reason, everybody thinks he's an ambulance chaser. Now, Ben Crump is not God. He's not going to be able to get everybody justice. But I'm going to tell you this, that man tries his hardest to get everybody justice. And there's not a lot of civil rights attorneys out here. And we all know that. And I just hate that as soon as Ben Crump name on, oh, he's janky. But LadyRo, can you go over Ben Crump's record again, please?
First of all, let's talk about who Ben Crump is. Ben Crump is a civil rights attorney. He's not a criminal attorney. It's not his job to go over here and try to get you off of something. That's not what Ben Crump does. Ben Crump is out here to make sure that we have an equal opportunity at the table. But I want to run down you some of his record, right? Ben Crump is an American civil rights and personal injury attorney who has secured billions of dollars in settlements and verdicts. And I will tell you this, Ben Crump is undefeated. People may not believe it, but he is. Ben Crump is known as Black America's Attorney General. He is nationally recognized for representing the families of victims in high-profile wrongful death, police brutality, and racial discrimination cases. Some of his most notable legal victories include a $779 million verdict, one for the family of Lewis Butler, a security guard who was shot and unalived during a 2023 armed robbery at a Florida establishment. A $641 million settlement secured for the children of Flint, Michigan, who suffered lead poisoning during the city's water crisis. A $45 million settlement reached in a police misconduct case for Randy Cox, a Black man who was left paralyzed in a police van. $27 million settlement won in the wrongful death lawsuit of George Floyd against the city of Minneapolis. $12 million settlement secured for the family of Breonna Taylor, who was unalived during a raid by police in Louisville, Kentucky. A $98 million verdict won for the family of Botham Jean, right here in the city of Dallas. Oh, Lord, that was a hard one. A man who was fatally unalived in his own apartment by an off-duty Dallas police officer. Banking while Black, he won more than $200 million in settlements in cases challenging racial discrimination in banking and finance. Henrietta Lacks, he represented the estate of Henrietta Lacks. If you remember, that is the Black woman whose cells are still being used today in women's health, that they took without the family's permission. He represented the estate of Henrietta Lacks in a landmark lawsuit against biotechnology companies over the unauthorized harvesting of her cells. Crump's firm also works on a variety of other civil rights mass torts, including cases for Black farmers facing historical discrimination, Astro World Festival concert goers, and plaintiffs alleging toxic side effects from consumer products. This is Ben Crump. Ben Crump, I'm going to tell you one more time, is undefeated. He don't lose. Y'all can say what y'all want to. Ben Crump is a civil rights. It's so important that Black folks know the difference between who people are. He is a civil rights attorney. So when you saw him sitting with Trayvon's family, he was not with Trayvon's family to try to get, what's his name locked up? What was his name? George Peterson. He was not there to get Peterson locked up. He was there to get civil rights justice for Trayvon's mother and father. But a lot of people mix up who attorneys are and what they represent. Same way they talk about Phaedra Parks, right?
Right.
An esquire is an esquire, whether you believe it or not. A lot of people don't have Juris Doctor behind their name. Juris Doctor means I can practice law. And if I pass the law exam, the bar exam, that means I really can practice law. Zimmerman, I'm sorry, did I say Patterson? George Zimmerman. Thank you.
Thank you, LadyRo. And I think that's why I said I think we have to stop. Sometimes we feed into the narrative that's put on people like Ben Crump. Of course, that narrative is on him because, like LadyRo said, he's undefeated. And you notice that we haven't heard about half of these settlements. I didn't know half of these people got settlements. They're not going to report to you when Ben win these cases. They just going to paint him as an ambulance chaser and call it as he's a civil rights attorney. That civil has to do with money. You're not going to get no type of criminal nothing out of civil.
That's right. That's it. So I just feel like people really don't understand and they just ride with what they hear. Because a lot of us, we don't read books. We don't open up a book. We want somebody, please tell us. We don't want to go through the extent of understanding. A lot of times when I see things, even if I see a word that I don't understand, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to Google it and find out what the meaning of it is, right? And make sure that I'm using it in context and not out of context. Also, I want to know what, if I was so concerned about someone winning and losing, because I heard people, oh, Ben Crump never wins. I'm like, do they know what Ben Crump actually does? This man's undefeated. He is literally undefeated. This man out here making money for these families. And I'm not saying that money can take the place of the things that they've lost. But he's undefeated in what he does. I want y'all to hear this.
Justice when you can't get no other type of justice. I think that's what people gotta understand. So taking it from somebody who ain't got justice yet, and probably I don't know if I'll ever get justice, is some type of form of justice. No, it can't replace what you lost. No, it ain't gonna change what you went through. But hey, it can do something.
It can do something. I agree. I'm gonna tell you, Butterflii, I resonate with that so much because in 1991, my nephew, who I was the same age as, was unalived. And the gentleman who did the act, the deed, never spent a day in prison for what he did to my nephew. Never spent a day in prison. The detective told my sister my nephew was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that he really was innocent. He had nothing to do with what was going on. And the guy got away with it. But when I tell you, God, you may get away, but you'll never get by. Never get by. This gentleman did not go to prison for my nephew's unaliving. In fact, he unalived someone else afterwards. But everybody who went to testify, the DA would get someone to go testify and he would blow up their house. One lady, she told the DA, and she actually told my sister, she said, I can't lose my family for nothing, ma'am. Your son gone. What's it gonna help if my family gone too? So every time it would be someone that we thought was gonna be a witness, there we go. He would intimidate them and they wouldn't testify. He ended up going to prison for selling out on the street, being a pharmaceutical salesman, although he had unalived someone else. And I want to say he got out of prison maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe a little bit, maybe 10 at the most. And I guess was doing well. I guess was doing okay. I don't know. I got a call last year from a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, and said, I got something to tell you, sit down. So I said, I'm sitting down, what's up? Said, you know, the gentleman who unalived your nephew? And I said, yeah. Said he killed himself last night. And I went silent because I had no words. No words. I don't wish anybody to take their life. I sent a message to the family, his family, from my family, and told them we would be praying for them. But there was a caveat to it. I had nothing to say. I had no feelings. We had no feelings. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for letting us know. That was it. And I'm going to tell you why he took his life. He was driving while intoxicated and hit and unalive someone else. And he knew he was about to go back to prison. So he told him before he would go back to prison, he'd take his own life. And that's indeed what he did. Coward. But in hell may he lift up his eyes. Moving forward, because I'm gonna get off that.
Yeah,
That's a sore subject for me.
absolutely, LadyRo. Yeah.
I've held that very close to my chest a long time. Sore subject. Moving right along.
Yes, ma'am.
This is when a young lady by the name of Jill Jefferson joins the crew with Don Lemon and Judge Carlos Moore. I want you to hear what she had to say.
Yes, I appreciate it in this very important subject and you fight for other individuals who have been in questionable situations and who you feel have been discriminated against. As you are listening to this, I just asked the judge here if he thinks race was involved, and he said absolutely. He's told me everything that he's told me. He believes that it was involved. What do you say, Ms. Jefferson?
I say that you have to investigate this independently, that you have to leave all assumptions at the door, that you have to go where the evidence leads you, that you have to question every angle. And so often people jump to assumptions. That's the problem with these investigations in the first place. Police jump to assumptions. So it doesn't help if we jump to assumptions. We have to actually independently investigate this and not just go and look at what is independently corroborated, not just what the narrative is, but what can be corroborated.
Yeah. And we look for that information. I think I said this morning that where there's no information, people fill the void. Someone is going to fill the void and they're going to come up with things, assumptions on the internet. I just feel, and this is me, that there's been a lack of transparency in the investigation and beating back some of the things that happen to not be true or some of the conspiracies around this, Ms. Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about, in terms of a lack of transparency, something you have to realize is that police forces in Mississippi don't have the capabilities or usually the training of police officers, police forces in bigger areas. And so part of the problem we get to with these cases, they actually don't know how to investigate them.
I don't know if you're talking, LadyRo. You on mute.
Thank you. I'm sorry. She's saying that in bigger cities, I think you guys heard her, that because Mississippi's so rural and so engrossed in not moving forward, that a lot of times what you find in Mississippi when it comes down to big cases such as Nolan's, you have a group of law enforcement individuals who do not know how to properly investigate the entire. They don't know how to secure the scene and make sure that they're getting the things, secured for the evidence secured for court. And that's what she's explaining right now.
So
I said that this morning of everything that you're saying about, I said they need to try to figure out, bring in a crisis PR person and get some sort of comms or something. But look, that's besides the point. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So a lot of times there could be a lack of transparency. I'm not saying there isn't, but oftentimes what looks like a lack of transparency is simply incompetence. And so what Julian has done, we've actually drafted new standard operating procedures for police in these cases so that they know how to investigate potential lynchings.
So we're going to talk about.
She actually is going to go on to talk about some of the things that Butterflii and I spoke on Saturday about. Hello, Loyalty. Some of the things that Butterflii and I talked about on Saturday with all of these young men being hung from trees and coming up missing or this and that happening. She actually is going to discuss that, but I'm going to skip forward and then we're not going to be here much longer. Butterfly, I know that we're going to talk about this a little bit later. I know you're going to go over to your channel and explore it. I think you're going to go to TikTok. Am I right?
Well, not tonight, but because we have been on here for a while and
Right.
getting pulled away. So
I know you. I know you.
And the Karmelo Anthony, there's a lot of new things going on with that. So we probably could just do that on a separate thing.
Right.
But I appreciate it if you would be willing to do it with me. But I'll get back with you with a time and date.
Definitely will.
Because I know you have a schedule and you got them grandbabies and you got a life.
Girl. We're gonna finish listening to this and this young lady Jill, and then we're gonna go on and get off. Where was I at? Oh, y'all, I really just lost my place looking for something. Let's see.
Yeah, so a lot of times there could be a lack of transparency. I'm not saying there isn't, but oftentimes what looks like a lack of transparency is simply incompetence. And so what Julian has done, we've actually drafted new standard operating procedures for police in these cases so that they know.
I want to move forward a little bit and then we're going to get on off of here. They go through and talk about the mom.
I heard somebody was saying, "Give me my freaking phone." Who took your phone? I'm willing. Are you willing to sign an affidavit against that person who took your phone? Because that is a crime in the state of Mississippi, as far as I can recollect. And
so Judge Carlos Moore was shouting out to the young man named Tristan, and he said that he wants to know who took your phone and do you want to file a police report against whoever took your phone, because that is a crime in the state of Mississippi.
So you tested. You put them all
We know
on
that friend is not about to do that.
Right, because I believe he's lying. But I think this is the judge's way of challenging his claim of saying that it was him whose phone was he was saying, "Oh, give me back my phone, give me back my phone."
Yeah. He's a
yes.
Okay,
yep.
Go ahead, Butterfly.
I was going to say, that's right. I forgot. The judge did say a good way to put the pressure on him to break him to know if he's lying or not is to wheel him in that way.
Correct.
Be too rough with him, but just ask him simple questions, and his response and his mannerisms would tell me if he's telling the truth. I would love to meet Tristan.
Mm-hmm. Judge Carlos Moore, thank you for your time. I know that you have other interviews to get to. With Monique Presley, and she said there are so many cases, not necessarily, well, similar to this, not exactly like this, but they just don't get the attention that they deserve, or people where there are suspicious activities surrounding their death, and they never get justice for it. So, Ms. Jefferson,
okay, this is where I want to go, and then we're going to move forward.
Julian just completed an 18-month groundbreaking study where we studied thousands of deaths across the Deep South. Mississippi had the highest number with 20, and that tracks with the historical record of Mississippi having the most lynchings in America. We're also seeing a rise in lynchings, which we link to the racialized and radicalized rhetoric that's going on in America right now. We also saw lynchings of migrants along the border in Texas. We expect that rhetoric to cause those cases to continue.
Mississippi has the highest number of lynchings in America, right? Let's go. I want y'all to hear this part where she's talking about this person that was hung in Mississippi.
Increase as well.
Wow. I mean, that is incredible work. And we also have, some of the cases that you have been working on. I wanted folks to see what you did, and then I want to play some of the cases that you have been working on. Here it is.
Hey, y'all. I'm here to provide updates on some recent hanging cases. First, Juliana Zeta in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was found hanging from a tree on May 8th. Julian is investigating that case fully. I was just in Charlotte this past weekend for Juliana's funeral. We've obtained an independent autopsy as well as DNA, and we should have the results of that this week. Second, Cedric Tayuhe. He was found hanging from a tree on June 6th in Charlotte. Julian's in touch with that.
Y'all, she's going down through, it's a lot of names. We don't have time to go through all that right now. But I want to find where she talks about the corner. I really want you guys to hear that. Let me see if I can find it. We may have to come back and do this at another time. I should have again. Let's see what she says here.
And we don't know if Nolan Wells is being killed. We don't know if it's an accident or accidental. But what we do know is that there is mistrust and concern about how investigations of Black people's deaths are being treated. Roland.
You're about to see this boy's face and hear his name a lot the next.
I want you guys to go over to Don Lemon. I want you to look at the video that he streamed on July the 14th. It is exclusive. Former Mississippi Judge Carlos Moore weighs in on the Nolan Wells case. The video is just about an hour and 11 minutes long, but when I promise you, it is worth the listen. I'm not going to keep digging through it. I will pull out some excerpts for it for another time, possibly on Saturday when I do Saturday morning with LadyRo or Saturday morning scoop. And we're going to talk about it some more. But we're going to keep the name Nolan Wells on your mind. We're going to keep the name Karmelo Anthony on your mind. Because if we don't fight for justice, who will?
Butterflii, that part right there, lady. I was just about to say the same thing. We have to keep our foot on their necks because at the end of the day, they absolutely thought they was going to sweep this under the rug like they've done so many. And I think one of the things that we need to know too, that is this has affected everybody. It hasn't just affected our community. I have never seen the amount of white people I have seen speaking out that I see speaking out for Nolan Wells. So I think we need to take this alley while we got it and make sure we keep our foot on necks for Karmelo Anthony, like LadyRo said, and Nolan Wells. And I can't wait till we get into the all the things that was found out in the Karmelo. Oh my God, Buttercups. Queendom, it's a lot. So yeah.
Buttercups.
I appreciate you. I'm sorry.
I said Buttercups and the Queendom. Both of them are in here tonight.
Yes. And I want to thank everybody. LadyRo, thank you. You know, I always enjoy doing the panel with you. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening. And Queendom, thank you. Please don't forget to hit both the like buttons on both channels and hype up both the lives if you can, because it will greatly be appreciated. And please, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Our beautiful LadyRo is almost at her 800. And Buttercups, I think my dream is about to come true. I might want to pinch myself, but we are almost at our we get into our goal of our first 1,500. And I'm really, really excited, Buttercup. So let's just keep the momentum going. All the likes, all the interaction, leave a comment, whether you agree, disagree. We don't care. We want to hear from you. All right. Yes, thank you, LadyRo. Thank you, Queen. Shout out to the Buttercups. Let's go. We got this. We got this.
Let's go. We got this for sure. Man, applause for almost at that 1,500. I love it. Love it. Symmetry has put in the chat. Symmetry has put in the chat the link to Don Lemon's live. Go over there, watch it. I promise you, it is worth the watch. It is worth the watch.
I'm going to tell you, if you're going to watch anybody, the two people I recommend outside me and LadyRo, if you're going to watch anybody, it would definitely be Don Lennon and Abu Chronicle Speaks. I hope you don't mind me mentioning her.
Oh, I don't mind it. Yeah, I love her. I love her.
Yeah, yes. The two people Lennon got his foot on it, okay? And I think because it's close to home for him, it's Louisiana. And, you know, he's from Louisiana. It's not too far from Mississippi. So it's very similar. And, you know, Don Lennon lost actually two. I didn't know two siblings, but one of them to a drowning that they can't explain. But
right.
Buttercups. So, yep. But thank you, Buttercups. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget, my great brother always taught me prayer works in numbers. Yes, prayer works in numbers, babies. So let's not forget that, Buttercups. Yes. Thank you, LadyRo.
Butterflii Symmetry says she'll see you in the morning.
Yes, she'll see me in the morning. Better
Love you
get me together
guys.
before I get up out of here.
Right. If no one told you today that they love you, I love you, and there's a thing you can do about it. As Butterflii says, keep your head on a swivel. Wait a minute. Keep your foot on something and your head on a swivel. And remember to smile, because a smile may brighten up someone else's day. You have a good evening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining the Queendom. Until next time, keep nurturing, keep cultivating, and keep awakening the queen within. God bless you. We'll see you next time.